talking about, I guess, a noon game to start it off with South Carolina after that season opener up in Oxford. And I'm curious if they're going to say, okay, this is who gets to come, and you get to sit underneath, where there's some sort of shade or some sort of overhang to put that 17,000 fans. I don't really know how they're going to do it logistically, but I'm curious if there's a lot of folks who are watching and listening that would say, yeah, sure, I'm in, I'm going to go, or no, I think I'd rather just opt out, maybe get some of my money back for this season and watch it on TV. Yeah, I'm just curious.
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how they're going to select who gets to go and who doesn't. Honestly, I think they should probably give majority of the tickets to the student body so they can at least make some. Sometimes the older alumni just kind of sit there. And there's not going to be that atmosphere.
No.
With the band and all that stuff. So it's going to be very, very odd. Florida, are not selling tickets to road games, so there are not going to be any Gator fans on the road.
Right.
Now, the players' parents may have that opportunity, but it's just going to be an odd year in college football and all football, really, except high school. The high school games I watched, ain't a damn thing changed.
No, and I've seen that too, and I find that very interesting. I guess that's a local municipality jurisdiction type thing, but I feel like maybe as the season goes along, QB, and maybe as, so far, that Central Arkansas game last week with Austin Peay, none of those players tested positive. Everything seemed fine. So if we get positive flow week after week after week, perhaps they're going to loosen up some of these restrictions. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're saying, look, this is the only way we can truly beat this thing for the time being until there's a medical answer for this. But, social distancing and football, it's kind of a tough thing when you try to add the atmosphere and the experience into the weekend. So I guess this is look, it's better than the alternative of not having a game.
Well, here's the thing. Central Arkansas has already played 2 football games.
Yeah.
They played last night again, and they've had no issues. And I'm not really concerned. Whatever happens in the stands, JC, is not going to have one issue with what's on the field, because the guys that are playing on the field have been tested 2 to 3 times in a week. So, you know what I'm saying? If there's an outbreak from Susie from Melbourne who came down for a game and then she has the virus, it's not like they're going to cancel football games.
No,
she's
it's
playing
not.
in the game.
No, correct. No, I see that on the coronavirus end of the story. But as far as the games themselves go, it's going to be very different, as you said. Home field advantage will not be as big a deal, I don't think, now without experience. Now, traveling is still going to take place, certainly. But, without a fan fest, without spirit teams on site, the atmosphere, what we're used to seeing in college football will certainly be different. But I'll take I know the.
When these guys travel, they're not going through the damn airport in Atlanta like you do. They're on a private chartered plane.
Yes.
The only people on that plane are the guys that they've been with the entire training camp. So I have zero concern. JC, we only have about 6 more minutes with you this morning because we got the Spurrier Bowden interview coming up.
Cool.
But the tour championship starts today.
Right.
And I got to read this. I saw it on Twitter. I thought it was hilarious. Kevin Kisner, this is great. He was doing an interview with some media dude, and the guy asked Kisner, so you noted that 10% of the field this week are Georgia Bulldogs. What are your thoughts about that? That's what Kisner, and so Kisner's answer was, did you also research how many people from Georgia Tech are in the event? And the interviewee says, I did, and it would be 0. And Kisner just laughed. He took a shot at his Georgia Tech guys.
I like that. I like that too. I don't know how many Georgia Tech golfers are actually on tour winning. I would think their bigger rival, if you were looking at, who came from which school, would be the Alabama with Justin Thomas, Michael Thompson, some of these others. Texas has Jordan Spieth, a couple others. But Kisner is he's a quiet guy who really executes well in these tournaments, and he's going to break through one of these days. I just think he's got so much potential, so much game. But this is Dustin Johnson's to win, as we've seen now with the way this works. And honestly, I think he will win it. But after this, I'm actually more excited, QB, for the U.S. Open and the Masters in the coming weeks and months.
Well, he starts today at 10 under par, but John Rahm, who just beat him, starts at 8 under. So,
yeah, it could be a 2-horse race. Yeah, it could be a 2-horse race. I agree with that. Yeah. Also, QB, I know all of our listeners and viewers are excited about the Tampa Bay Lightning getting to the finals of the Eastern Conference playoffs in hockey, waiting on whether or not they'll play Philadelphia or the New York Islanders. And, if they win the Stanley Cup, it would be their franchise's second Stanley Cup. So that keeps me interested knowing that it's Tampa Bay, because I've been to so many games, and I know that plenty of your viewers and listeners have been to some games in Tampa as well.
I can't tell you how many questions and comments I get on Facebook about the
Well, you gotta bring it up once in a while, QB. I mean,
they don't give a damn.
Oh, they do care. So.
I will tell you this though. I'm flipping through the channels last night as I'm eating. The ending to the Boston Celtics Toronto Raptors was phenomenal. I don't know if people saw it. You got to go see it. So it's a tie ball game. Kemba Walker drives the lane. 3 guys converge on him. He gives this sweet no-look bounce pass, and they dunk it with 0.5 seconds, JC.
Yeah,
you got to think you're going to win the game, right?
It's over. It's over.
Kyle Lowry throws this high, lofting inbound pass to OG. I don't know how I can't pronounce his last name. We're just going to call him OG. He jumps up, he catches it outside the 3-point line and buries a 3 at the buzzer to win.
It's amazing they were able to get that off. I also feel bad for Billy's team up in Oklahoma. They were down 2-0 in their series with Houston and the other night, and they came back. They forced a 7th game and lost by 2. That's too bad. I was really rooting for Oklahoma City. I was hoping they would be.
They don't have enough talent.
No, and Houston probably has more of a chance of going further to play one of the LA teams. But Boston, getting back to them, they're up 2-1 now against Toronto. I think some folks were maybe even surprised about that, but they could have easily been up 3-0. So I still like the Celtics in that series, and I think the Clippers are going to take care of the Nuggets.
And we already got a Facebook Live brought to you, Melvin Law. It says Tampa Bay who?
Oh, please. Tampa Bay, everybody's going to be watching Tampa Bay with Tom Brady now. And that's what
here's the great thing. I had a guy from Tampa Bay Times, Matt Baker, on the other day, who covers sports for the Tampa Bay Times. And it's true. You didn't think about this. So the first 2 home games for Tampa, fans are not allowed.
I know.
You got this quarterback, all these great skill guys for the next time now, and the fans can't go watch them play.
I mean, is that the most Tampa thing ever? I mean, that is truly the most Tampa thing ever. They get this team together. They could have sold every ticket for the first time in 2 decades to that stadium to watch a game, and nobody's allowed. I mean, it's just so Tampa. But I just got this feeling, QB, and maybe I'm wrong, but I got this feeling that two months out from here, you're going to start seeing them letting more people in the stadium. I don't know why. I just think they will. Now, if folks are going to have to wear these damn masks.
You don't have to wear the mask. Once you get in, you don't have to wear the mask.
Well, at Florida Field, you do.
No, you don't.
You don't?
I'm almost 100% sure it's get
I didn't read that.
Get in your seat, because you're going to be spaced out. There's no reason to wear a mask. Nobody's going to be sitting right next to you.
Well, I don't know. I thought I read where fans are going to be required to wear masks unless they're eating or drinking. Unless they're eating or drinking. I read that. I mean, I don't know. What did you read? You didn't read
so, but who's going to be throwing people out? It's going to be 100 degrees.
I know.
I don't see that. I ain't going to be wearing my mask. They're going to have to escort me out.
That would be classic. Hall of Fame Gator escorted out for not wearing a mask. That would be so. That would
make so sense in this huge
I get it.
Venue.
I know these. I know, but people, how they are right now. I mean, that'd be like playing golf today on your golf tournament.
It would be like the PGA Tour wearing masks today when they play golf. So anyway. Silly. Yeah, we just had Russell just tells us here that masks are required in Bill Hill Griffin.
Yeah.
I could have sworn that I was on a Zoom meeting that they said wear your mask in there and you could take it off. But anyway.
You better go to the Gator shop and get yourself a Gator mask, QB, if you're going.
That's why I'll be sitting in my recliner, my friend. JC, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.
You bet. Okay.
Johnny Cornell, we're going to take our first time out of the pro. When we come back, we'll be joined by Jan Richard from the Rising Star Project. We'll have Bobby Bowden and Steve Spurrier join us as well. You're watching and listening to Pot Up. I'm laughing at these comments here. You're watching Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
we want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our Gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Gainesville Turnover Specialist. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center. Center State Bank. Chris Doring Mortgage. Our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, The Digital Mortgage Guy, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Rap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We are the largest community bank in the state of Florida. And understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. I want to thank JC for joining us early, talk a little sports. Now we're going to go back to the Titan MR hotline, and we're joined by Jan Richard, who heads up the Florida Rising Stars Project. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to have the interview with Coach Bowden and the head ball coach. Good morning, Jan. How are you?
I'm good, Shane. How are you?
Doing well. We had you on a couple of weeks ago. We talked about the project that you started. For everyone that missed that, and before we get to the interviews with the coaches, talk a little bit about what the Florida Rising Stars Project is all about.
This project or this program was actually developed when I was working with Florida Sports Hall of Fame. It's basically, in a nutshell, it's sports camps, but I think what makes us a little different is the fact that our camp will actually have 2 hours of classroom time with the kids. And when I say kids, we're concentrating on middle school and high school kids. We're going to spend a couple of hours talking to them about things like substance abuse, gang activity, mental health and wellness. You recently had the Holinskys on, Mark and Kim, who are also ambassadors of ours. And although I wasn't part of that conversation, I watched it, and it surprised me when Mark said, with 3 Division I quarterbacks for sons, the amount of camps that we've been involved in, we've never seen a camp that actually includes these other topics. And of course, that mental health and wellness is pretty near and dear to their heart, as they lost a son to suicide, and that's their life's mission now. So, and then, that'll be after lunch, and then they'll go back out and they'll do some more sports activities. But we're really working with, anybody's invited to our camps, but we're really working with underprivileged and at-risk kids. And we just want to help them make the right decisions, and hopefully something that we do will get them to think and so forth. If you remember when we interviewed you, Shane, we asked you to do a 3 to 4 minute piece at the end of the interview. That's what we're going to run in this 2 hour period. We're going to have them listen to see these videos of all people like yourself, and all of our ambassador list is up to 40 now. We just added a couple more this week. So. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about that, Jan. We're speaking with Jan Richard, who spearheads the Florida Rising Stars Project. We're going to get to an interview here in just a second with Coach Bowden and Coach Spurrier. They're ambassadors for your program. Talk a little bit about some of the other so-called celebrities that you have on board.
Well, of course, we've got Bobby and Steve are our legendary coaches. Tom Shaw, I don't know if you know Tom. Tom is actually the coach to the Stars, if you will. He has a camp. He prepares kids for the combine. Mm-hmm. But Brian Ford is part of our Brian from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the COO, Lee Steinberg, Rocky Blyer. I mentioned the Holinskys, Dedrick Dodge. we're Todd Marinovich, who can easily talk on substance abuse, obviously. We are also starting to add some entertainers. Last week we interviewed Skip Martin, who is the lead singer for Kool and the Gang, and he's bringing some of his friends in too. And I think Mickey Thomas is coming on board from Starship. So we've got a pretty good cross section of people. Barry Smith, who you interviewed, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So, and yourself, thank you very much for being part of this. So, we've interviewed 18 people already. We interviewed the interview that you're about to see was a brainchild of Joey, our production manager. When I told him that we were going to interview both Bobby and Steve, he said to me, he said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we could get the two of them together where they could talk back and forth to each other?" I said, "Yeah, that would be cool. Let me work on that." So I talked to Freddie, and things started happening, and it all came together last week. So I'm pretty excited about that. From what I understand, we made history with that. As many interviews as those guys have done through the years, they've never done one where they've actually been on together. So you're about to see it first.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it myself. At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. We have Jan Richard, who is the head of Florida Rising Stars Project, and we're going to go here in just a second. We're going to go to like you said, probably once in a lifetime interview with Coach Bobby Bowden and Steve Spurrier. Before we get to that, Jan, real quick, when are your camps going to start? Obviously, with COVID and stuff and school starting back, is this something that you're shooting forward towards like next summer?
Actually, we're hoping. We had planned to have some. When we started this back in February, we had planned to have some this year, but of course, like everybody else, we got kind of waylaid. But we are hoping to have a camp. We're basically working in 3 cities now: Tampa, Orlando, and Gainesville. And we're hoping to have one in each of those cities in the fourth quarter. But there's so many intricacies. Each city has different limits as to how many kids you can get together. Orlando, it's no more than 50. Tampa, I haven't gotten a real answer from Tampa yet. But we do have a full schedule for next year. So we're hoping to do these in the spring, during breaks, and in the summer. The schedule, there'll be two camps in each one of those 3 cities a year. But there's also aftercare. We like to say, once a rising star, always a rising star. These kids will have something to do every month. We don't want to lose track of these kids. We want to keep them in the family, so to speak. So once they attend the camp, we'll have activities for them every month. It may not be a sports camp, but we'll have activities for them. So.
That's good stuff. As I mentioned, we're getting ready here to start this interview with the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, and legendary coach Bobby Bowden. One thing before we get to it, Jan. So if real quick, if someone, are y'all taking like donations, or if someone wants to be a part of this, just the general public, someone listening today, how do they get involved?
Well, they can go to our website, which is FloridaRisingStarsProject.com. I believe you're going to put a banner up. There is a donate now. And when we say donate, we talk about, obviously money would be nice, but time and resources is also is certainly welcome. So, I just like them to contact, if they need more information, just contact me. We have an awards program where people make sizable donations. We have things like free golf at Isleworth, which is, of course, impossible to play, Innisbrook. So there are ways that we like to return favors. People that help us, we like to help them. And they stay in the family also.
All right, refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from WrapSpot. September is your lucky month at WrapSpot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. This is a Friday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We have Jan Richard on the line here. We're getting ready to go to great interview with Coach Steve Spurrier and Bobby Bowden. Let's go ahead and run that video right now.
For today's episode, we reunited two Florida football legends, two college Hall of Fame coaches, Coach Steve Spurrier and Bobby Bowden. Take a look. This is an exciting moment for us here at Florida Rising Stars. We have two legends in the building. We have Bobby Bowden, the man, the myth, the legend himself, and we have Steve Spurrier. So we have a few quick questions here for you. So this first question is for you, Coach Spurrier. What comes to mind when you hear the name Bobby Bowden?
Coach Bowden had probably the greatest run in the history of college football between 1987 and 2000. I think they finished in the top 4, top 5 in the nation every year. 14 straight years. They played probably the toughest schedule back in those days because they played Miami and Florida. I tell people all the time, if they'd have dropped just one of us two, he would have had maybe 5 or 6 national championships. That's how good those teams were back in those days. But since they played us and we played them, it knocked probably both of us out of maybe a couple of national championships during that time. But I'm sure Coach Bowden was the winningest coach in college football all through that era. And I think the Gators, we were second through the 90s. So we had some good teams down here in Florida. And Coach Bowden, he won more than I did during that time. So you got to say he's the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hats off to that. Coach Bowden, so I have the same question for you, but reverse. What comes to mind when you hear the name Steve Spurrier?
Well, here's what comes to mind to me. The first thing, when I first started coaching, and in the first years of college football, it was understood you had to run the ball to win a national championship. Yeah, if you can't run the ball, you're not going to win a national championship. Steve came along in the 90s and proved that you can win a national championship featuring the passing game. He showed the nation, hey, you can win it with your running game, but you can also win it with your passing game. And he did this. In fact, he beat us in the Sugar Bowl to win the national championship. And nobody could throw the ball like Steve Spurrier.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you hit on what was going to be one of my upcoming questions, so we could go ahead and get into it now. What really made Steve's offense different? What separated them during that time period? And what do you think made him more of a visionary to be willing to go out and take that risk during those times?
Well, number one, he was a great teacher of the passer. He would get good high school football players that threw the ball. Then he'd teach them how to throw the ball. And he was daring. He was daring. You never knew what he was going to do. And I've seen him on 4th and 8 throw a touchdown pass. You're supposed to punt.
Right. Right.
But, he just dared you to knock it down, man. And he had good receivers. I think one year he had 2 receivers, maybe might have been first round. He might have had more than that. But let me say this. I'm glad I'm talking to him today and not playing.
Coach Spurrier, what do you think was the key to Coach Bowden's longevity over that time period that you mentioned there? What do you think was the key to his success?
Well, first of all, he convinced his players at Florida State that they were good enough to beat anybody in the country. When he got to FSU way back in the 80s, I guess sometime, right, Coach?
Yeah, late 70s.
Late 70s, okay, yeah, 79 or 80, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
FSU was just another school out there. They were independent, and they were not feared by a whole bunch of people. And what Coach Bowden had to do, he had to schedule some tough teams. I think he went to Nebraska and, some SEC schools to to let people know, hey, we can play with the top teams in the country. So after they went and started beating those good teams, certainly the recruiting picked up at FSU, and they were right there in the top 5 in recruiting about every year. I think they out-recruited us most of the years that I was at Florida. But he established the winning tradition at FSU, and that's what all coaches have to do. They have to get that mindset into their team. Hey, fellas, we can do it. Now let's go do it. We have no excuses. Eliminate all those excuses and convince your players they're good enough to go win. And certainly that's what I tried to do my early years here in Florida, is convince our players we're good enough to go do it. We got to believe. You got to believe to start with. And then after that, it's performance. And Coach Bowden got his coaches, he got his players, everyone involved in their program with that attitude that they can go beat anybody in the nation.
Absolutely. Okay. Coach Bowden, what would be different in your preparation on a week when you guys were going to play against Spurrier's Gators, especially on the years when you guys played in the swamp?
Number one, you can imagine we didn't like to play in the swamp. that Steve had that thing sewed up, boy. I mean, he had that crowd into it. He had it packed, and you knew you would get your hands full that day, And but when we prepared to play Coach Spurrier, we spent a lot of time on the passing game. If it was 1st and 10 or 2nd and short or 3rd and long or 3rd and medium or whatever, you didn't know what the guy was going to do, and he dared do some outstanding things. And he did it with full confidence. I remember when I used to play against Steve, I used to get the feeling, I said, he's in the game. I mean, he thinks he's playing. The way he runs his team and calls those plays, you would think he's playing, And he did. He got his kids where they believed they could win too, And in the state of Florida, Steve is proud, and I am too. Florida State, and Miami. I think one time we're 1, 2, 3 in the nation. I think. If it wasn't, we were close, all of us. Football, and I mean, if you played in the state of Florida, if you could beat Florida and Miami, you won the national championship that year. Because they were 2 of the better teams in the nation.
Right. Okay, and then Coach Spurrier, what changed or what was different in preparing for the Seminole teams during that year, and then especially on the years when you played in Doak Campbell?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, they were always in the top 5 in the nation, top 4 most of the time. So we played them. They were either 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. So they were always one of the best teams in the country. So, and it was a huge game every year. A lot of times, if the winner of it may have a chance to go on to the national championship game. But it was a huge game. But since we were in different conferences, we still had a chance to win the SEC, even if we lost to them, which happens sometimes. And then they had certainly a chance to win the ACC championship after they joined that conference a little later on. So, we had a game after the season, and then but the winner of that one, if he was in position to go on for the national championship, that made it that important.
Coach Spurrier, what do you feel is a lesson either on the field or off the field that you learned from playing against Coach Bowden?
Oh, just trying to totally prepare your team all the time if you're going to have a chance to win. We never did win up at his place at Doak Campbell. You're talking about a tough place to play. We got a tie there one year. But other than that, we beat them a few times at our place, and we were fortunate to have one of the best games I guess our team's ever played in that national championship Sugar Bowl way back after the '96 season. So anyway, it was always a heck of a ball game, and it was usually 2 of the best teams in the country going at it.
Okay. Coach Bowden, with Florida Rising Stars Project, we do speak to a lot of the youth. A lot of our audience is in middle school age and high school age who could go on to be coaches. What would you say is a trait that is important to be a great coach?
Well, I think the big trait is always be honest. I used to tell my boys, don't lie to me, and I'm not going to lie to you. And so, being honest with each other where you can, that way you can depend on that other person, you know? And I think you've got to have that. You got to have a lot of things, but that's one of them.
And then Coach Spurrier, in the same regard, a lot of our audience being middle school age, high school age, aspiring players, what would you say is a key trait to being a great player?
Well, first of all, you need to be born with a certain amount of talent, and you have to have that work ethic and commitment to be the best conditioned player you can possibly be. But the real great players are also the wonderful teammates. I look back on our teams that achieved so much, and usually your star players have got to be your best teammate guys also. They got to be more concerned for the team than they are individually about themselves. So that's a characteristic and trait that you hope you have within your team with your top players. So we tried to emphasize being a great teammate as well as being an outstanding player.
Okay.
Hey Gators, this is Coach Steve Spurrier. Hot Up with Matthews in the morning. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Gainesville Turnover Specialist. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Celebration Point Town Center. Center State Bank. Chris Doring Mortgage. Our touchdown sponsors are Pomodoro Cafe, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration Point is where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Medici's, Regal Cinemas, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. It's a Friday edition here. We still have our man Jan Richard, who spearheads the Florida Rising Stars Project, on the line with us. Jan, pretty cool interview, huh? We're not done with it yet, though. We still have more to go.
Yeah, that's only halfway. We were talking about 15 minutes, but then they've been on a roll, and I've been doing this for a while, and I tell my guys, hey, if they're going, let them go. You know, they seem to be having fun. So,
yeah, it's great to hear legends like this talk about one another, and you know, it's pretty cool. I think it'd be kind of cool to get some other coaches that had great rivalries to do something similar to this. But, you know, these are two of the winningest coaches around here. Obviously, I agree. I mean, those Florida State teams in the 90s, when Florida and Florida State played each other in the 90s, it was a war. It was a bloodbath. And both teams caused each other opportunities to win other national titles.
You would know.
Yeah.
You were there for a few of them.
Yes, indeed. There were some really, really good games. But yes, we're gonna hear just momentarily. We're gonna go to the second portion of this show. Peachland Dentistry, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Visit them at peachlanddental.com. Let's go ahead and roll it for the second portion of the Steve Spurrier, Bobby Bowden interview.
Okay. Coach Bowden, so you mentioned things like Coach Spurrier calling the pass on 4th and 8, different gutsy plays that he's willing to do. Is there a play or a certain call in the game that you would like to ask Coach Spurrier about? Like, you know, what made you go with that?
I tell you what, I'll always remember. I've forgotten what year it was, but we went in down to play in the swamp, we were undefeated. I think we might have been 11-0 or 10-0. And if we win the Florida game, we're going to win a national championship, or at least we're going to play for the national championship. And that son of a gun beat us. And he used two quarterbacks. And I always remember that. But the thing I can remember, I think we had the lead late in the game, and he had it might have been first down, and he hit a takeoff to his wide receiver on the left over the head of our defensive back and got about 30 of something yards out of it. Then he broke a run, and finally he scored a touchdown, and we came back, but we couldn't catch him, and he beat us that day, and I'll never forget that one.
And then, Coach Spurrier, you mentioned things like never winning a game up in Doak Campbell, but obviously you guys were both saw great success during the period where you both were coaching down here in Florida. Is there a specific game that stands out to you more than others that you coached in against Coach Bowden?
Well, the Sugar Bowl is my favorite game, that's for sure. That's the one we won to win the national championship. And but we had several disappointing games that we were close and didn't quite make it. And then very disappointing, had a huge lead on the game up at Campbell. And Coach Bowden's team scored 28 in the fourth quarter to tie us up. So that was a little disappointing. But, yeah, there was too many. I think one of the really all-time great games was the one in the swamp where Warwick Dunn caught a little pass in the flat and went about 80 yards for a touchdown to put it out of sight for us. We were only behind, I think, 6 at the time, and we had some momentum going, and that was like a 3rd and 10 play that Warwick Dunn, Charlie Ward hit him, and he went about 80 yards for a touchdown. So anyway, it was really loud at the swamp that day. And it was loud that night, the one we won also in 97.
Coach Bowden, while we have Coach Spurrier here and we have an audience that will see this, you guys are both legends here in the state of Florida, have great admiration for each other. Is there a message in front of the audience you'd like to give Coach Spurrier while we have him on?
Well, I just wanted him to know, and I think he does know, that I always respected him. When I was assistant coach at Florida State back in 1964, I believe Steve's maybe he might have been his freshman or sophomore year. It may have been his sophomore year. And I remember playing against him that year. Now, he was a backup, but when Florida got behind, he came in, And then I followed his career. But, one of the greatest things, and Steve has not mentioned it, is what he did at Duke. Duke's not a national power. When you start looking at the top 10, don't worry about Duke. They ain't going to be there.
Right.
And yet, when he coached them, I think he either tied or won the conference championship. One of his best jobs. And that happened before he came to University of Florida. Now, when he came to the University of Florida, the Florida State game many times was game of the year. Game of the year, We had some great battles. I played him in the Sugar Bowl, and we beat him one year. The next year, we played him in the Sugar Bowl again. He beat us and won the national championship. And it was a game broadcast all over the nation, not just in the South or Southeast, But let me just say again, I'm glad I'm not playing him.
Absolutely. And then, Coach Spurrier, we would essentially ask you the same question. We have an opportunity. We have Coach Bowden here with us today. Is there a message that you'd like to share with him in front of our audience?
Oh, a message? Well, gosh, we've already had our games and our battles, and Coach won more of them than I did. But it was always a challenge going against the FSU teams back in the 90s and 2000. It was always a challenge, but we had a whole lot of games all the way through the stretch there. So both of us knew that the outcome of this game was certainly very important, but what you do in the entire season is, I think, what you are remembered by when it's all over with. And obviously, in the state of Florida, that was our big game. So you get bragging rights for the entire year, and They had them a few more times than we did, but we won. I think we beat them about as much as anybody, except maybe Miami. Miami may have beat them one or two more times during the 90s than we did. But he had great teams, and it was always a good battle to go against them.
All right, so a moment you guys share is the Sugar Bowl. Something unique we'd like you guys to do is, could you walk us through that week, the both of you together, could you walk us through that week of preparing for the Sugar Bowl and then playing in the Sugar Bowl?
The time that Florida won the national championship, I remember it vividly. I think they had a 4-point lead at the half, and we're still in the ball game. But the second half, they shut us down, and I think he scored 52 points that day. And he didn't try to run it up. It's just they earned 52 points. That's the thing I remember about that game.
Well, yeah, thank you, Coach. That was one of the biggest games, obviously, in my career down here in 12 years. But it was 24-20 at half, and second half, everything seemed to go our way. And I think we only threw one pass in the fourth quarter. And one of the nicest things Coach Bowden used to say about our teams, about running the ball. And he said, Steve and the Gators, yeah, they run the ball, but they wait till they're about 3 or 4 touchdowns ahead before they start doing it. Right. So we threw to score. And if we make a whole bunch of points, then you can hopefully make a lot of first downs and keep that clock running in the fourth quarter. So we had good runners, too. Fred Taylor, Eric Rett, and several. Ernest Graham, so many guys that could do that for us also.
Just one more question we have. That'd be a shared question for both of you. We'd like to get some of your input of the state of today's game. So what are some things you like about football, college football today? And maybe even some things that you prefer the previous way of doing things.
To me, and I'm having to gauge on last year because this year is up question marks.
Right.
But in regard to football last year, I think it's the best it's ever been. I think it gets better every year. You know what? But now off the field, that's another question. Off the field action has probably run a lot of coaches out of it, but on the field, I think it's as good as it's ever been. I think it's exciting. And like I said, Steve has showed the nation you can win with a passing game. And you see more of that now. And you see more people split out. Everybody using 3 and 4 wide receivers, So it's opened the game up. It's very exciting, and I don't know what's going to happen this year, but gee, I hope they can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of us former coaches are really pulling for college football to play this year and have a season, have the conference championship games, and even a national championship playoff. So we hope that occurs. I think most of the teams, the coaches and players are doing the quarantine, the social distance, the way that it's prescribed at all the universities. So if they can do that and keep that virus out of the team, we got a chance to finish the entire year and go from there. Obviously, the NBA basketball has done a super job. I don't think they've had a positive test, and they've been playing, a couple of months now or so forth. So it can be done, and we're certainly hoping it will be done. College football now, the players are so much faster and in better physical shape. The conditioning year-round is probably a little superior as we go year to year now. So that's one thing about college football. They're fast and they're in super shape, all these guys. And hopefully we get to watch it this year. I think Florida's got a good team. FSU sort of in a rebuilding mode, I guess, a little bit. But they got ball players up there, and it'd be interesting to see what they do this year.
Excellent. Okay. A quick question, and this would be for Coach Bowden in regards to the Gator Nation. Coach Bowden, who would you say player-wise was the best Gator that comes to mind, Florida Gator that comes to mind?
They had a bunch of them, but I liked Werfel.
Yeah.
I liked Werfel. Steve did a great job throwing that dadgum ball, but I liked Werfel. I liked what he stood for, and the kind of guy he was, and I really admire him.
And then, Coach Spurrier, who would you say would be your top Seminole, your top FSU Seminole?
I would say Charlie Ward. I got to know Charlie pretty well through the Heisman Trophy events and so forth. And he's a lot like Danny Warfel. He's a first-class young man, and he fine Christian young man, and he spreads the message. He lets people know where he stands and tries to be a big influence on the young people in our country today. So Charlie Ward and Danny Warfel, I think, are two of the best. Those are players that we hope to coach all the time, those type of young men.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. All right, coaches. Well, it was great to have you guys reunited here on our show. We appreciate you guys coming. Before we sign off, is there any last thing that you guys would like to say to each other?
Yeah, I'd like to say that it was a great pleasure talking to Steve today, and I am still so happy that I didn't have to play him.
Well, Coach, you beat me more than I beat you, that's for sure. But, yeah, congratulations on all the success through the years that your team's had there at FSU. And fortunately, Coach Bowden and I are the winningest coaches at our programs. Somebody may break my record, but, Coach, your record at FSU will never be broken, that's for sure.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Coach Bobby Bowden and Coach Spurrier. You know, I was told that outside of shaking hands either before a game or after a game that they coached against, this is the first time these two coaches have actually talked amongst one another. So we want to thank Jan Richard from the Florida Rising Stars Project for helping put this together. Hope you enjoyed it. These two legendary coaches involved with this special project. Let's see here. This Day in Sports is brought to you by GTS, Gainesville's premier maintenance company. Whether you need carpet cleaning or expert painting, fences mended, or any handyman services, call GTS at 352-363-6622. This Day in Sports in 1994, Miami Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino throws 5 touchdown passes in a 39-35 win over the New England Patriots, sets an NFL record with his 18th game of 4 or more touchdown passes. I assume that's still a record. It seems like Breeze or Brady or somebody may have broken it, but maybe not. But This Day in Sports, again, is brought to you by GTS, Gainesville's premier maintenance company. Folks, make sure you tune in next week. Have all your friends follow us. Make sure they follow us on Facebook. You can like us, but we want you following us. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Next week, we got a great show lined up for you. Let's see here. We got Labor Day show. We're going to have JC. Obviously, he's on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for you folks right now. We're going to have Coach Bob Sanders, longtime assistant for Coach Spurrier, coached in the NFL for about 17 years, join us on Tuesday. Buddy Martin will join us. Pizza Bill Feinberg. All the Gator football players know about Pizza Bill. He's got some tremendous stories, folks. You'll want to tune in for that. And then we're going to have old James Bates back on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday. Friday will be Reggie McGrew, who's now strength coach for the Gators, longtime defensive tackle here, played in the NFL. Thursday show is going to be a high school edition. We're going to have Mike Rideout from the prepzone.com talking high school sports, but we're going to have Mark Whittemore, Marcus McDonald, Bill Wiles, all these high school coaches in our area. A lot of them kick off tonight, matter of fact. Some start their regular season next week, but high school football is here, folks. I'm excited for them. We'll let them talk to you about what it's been like as a high school coach and talk a little bit about some of their players and some of their teams, obviously. But today's show is a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Folks, have a great Labor Day weekend. Make sure you tune in on Monday. We will be here. We're not taking the day off. Have a great weekend, folks. We'll see you later. Take care.